Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the CSGO Clutch Podcast, sponsored by Prize Picks. My name is Adam Cohn. I am your host. Dan, I'd like to have the listeners know we just recorded what might have been the greatest podcast of all time, the greatest podcast in the history of podcasts, and no one was able to hear it.
Yep, unfortunately we had some IT problems.
We were about 10-15 minutes into the last recording, and there were some technical difficulties. Hopefully they are fixed. Hopefully this take go around will be better. I
I don't
mean,
know.
we were preaching, we were on soapboxes, we were giving hard-hitting analysis, we were telling you that we are going to lock in Hampus at 7,000. I'm totally kidding. Anyway, this is the CSGO Clutch Podcast, sponsored by PrizePicks. Again, my name is Adam Cohn. I am your host, joined by my co-host, Dan Watts. Dan, how are you doing today? Now that we're not interfered with, by a technical difficulty.
I am doing really good, Adam, for
Excellent.
multiple reasons, and I will just leave it at that.
I like to hear it. Folks, this podcast is sponsored by PrizePicks. Use the promo code CLUTCH over at prizepicks.com or download the PrizePicks app. And again, sign up using the promo code CLUTCH. New depositors will get a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. It is an amazing promo. Dan and I keep talking about us because they're a sponsor. Dan and I love playing on PrizePicks. We're happy we're happy they're a sponsor of the show. And use the promo code CLUTCH, everybody. It really helps us out. And again, you get a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. You love to see it.
Yep.
Dan, I think we need to get into the breakdown here for this slate. And, we had a very interesting takedown, I do have to say. The winning takedown, there was a three-person takedown in first place. And I'll let you get into what you probably had the optimal lineup in a little bit here. But we had Captain Zybu with Masuda and Apex, the same three that I had in my lineup, except I captained Apex and put Zybu in the flex. But I had a three-man G2 stack. It did include Nexa, but it had Hunter and Nico. The winning lineup had Device and Rez. And Dan, you watched that game. I didn't get a chance to really watch much of it, but Device 73-9, 49, 10 first kills, a 1v3 clutch, and 1 4K, 83 DK points. Device went off.
He sure did, Adam. And man exudes leadership, and he can carry, and he can carry hard.
Hold on. He can what, Dan? He can what?
He can carry.
Oh, Dan, say that louder for everyone so they can hear it, because you've only been telling the dude he can't carry almost this entire, podcast since we started it. He can what, Dan?
He can carry.
There you go. And he's not what, Dan?
He's not old.
There you go.
Definitely not old.
But, man, I mean, I will say, to your leadership standpoint, we've heard in interviews that Device is acting as like a secondary caller during the game. And is acting as that like secondary in-game leader to really help build up and bolster the team. And when you think about it, this is a legend of Counter-Strike. He's not done playing yet. He's 25 years old. And he's coming into... this is a very young roster. Very talented, but very young.
Yeah.
And he's immediately made the roster better.
Big time.
I mean, like, there's a difference. Like, you take Team Vitality, for example. They didn't gain Zybu. They gained Kyojin. Kyojin having to learn how to play at a tier 1 level. Okay? OG incorporating Flames. Fnatic incorporating Jakino. Mouse Sports incorporating Dexter. G2 incorporating Nico. Take your pick of the most recent teams that have had roster changes. None bigger in Counter-Strike over the last year than Device going from Astralis to NIP. And immediately making the roster better. That roster has been winning this entire tournament. This is the debut of Device in NIP, is Flashpoint Season 3. He has immediately made that roster better. He's helping make the players around him better. We have a brand new top 3 on this team. And sadly, it doesn't include Plopsky. Which is kind of crazy. But this scoreline from Device speaks volumes. Now, Nexa, if we talk about from a pure lineup standpoint, Dan, Nexa, 78 DK points. He went nuts. He had a 1v3 clutch. He had a Three 4Ks. Nexa went bonkers. And Dan, again, this was on the other podcast that no one will ever hear. We were talking about risk tolerance. And again, my buddy Michael Cavalunas on CutlineGolf.com has some amazing articles. One specifically talking about risk tolerance in GPPs. I highly recommend you go check it out. I'm checking it out as well. Started, didn't get a chance to finish it. But, Dan, playing Nexer as a one-off, it's something you more do than I do. I don't typically see Nexer as an optimal player. He's not someone, he has more not high-scoring outcomes than ceiling games. This is what happens when you get a Nexus ceiling game.
Yeah.
That's risk tolerance. Having the willingness to be able to play the play that at 21.1% owned on a 2-game slate, to have the risk tolerance to be able to play as a one-off and a run back in a game which you're incorporating device and res. You have to be willing to take those shots. So, Dan, talk to us about your lineup, because you took second in the $1 tournament. Talk to us about your lineup compared to this one. Because you had a more interesting take. You kind of went down the same path that I did. You decided to go with Captain Apex instead of Zywoo, correct?
No, I played this lineup. The winning lineup I had in the Minimax.
This exact lineup.
That exact lineup.
Fantastic.
Yeah. But the optimal was with Apex Captain, Shocks, and Zywoo.
Yeah, and again, after Shocks is map 1, that kind of makes sense. All right.
I think that was the optimal. Like, even if unplayed.
Right. So let's walk through this. Walk us through your process. How did you get to the winning lineup?
Well, I was definitely on Vitality. It was just a matter of getting the right mix of Captain and cheap guys, or playing Apex and Captain and playing Zywoo in the flex. And then I was definitely on Nip. But one of my longtime theories is that if G2, if I think G2 is going to lose, that actually sets up Nexa to have a pretty good day, because he's a clutch machine. And if the rest of the team is doing well, he will disappear. Not disappear, but it's kind of like he's got his minions, doing all the dirty work. And it's happened so many times, and it's come true many, many times. And it's just he's really good. He's really smart. He's probably one of the smartest IGLs, probably one of the smartest players in the world. So that is why I picked Nexa as a one-off.
Very nice.
Yeah. And he was cheap. I think he fit in my mold.
Nexa was $5,800.
Yeah, so I mean I can't take too much credit on the.
Right, and agreed to all of your points. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to them later because part of me was typing something else. So I apologize, but you mentioned clutches. We know Nexa has the talent and skill level to be a higher fragging IGL. He just doesn't. It's not his role in the team. He could go out and do these performances more regular if he wanted to. He has the talent. He's more of the balance player on a team where you have Nico fragging, Hunter fragging, Amanek now main opping, and Jax entering. Why does Nexa have to go be a top fragger too? Who would that be taking away from? It's not Nexa's role to do that. Now, Nexa can take his team on his back if he needs to, but that's not his role. He didn't make that Cadian jump, if you will. Because remember when Cadian was doing more IGLing than fragging? And he had these very few ceiling games where we're like, okay, we know Cadian's got a ceiling. We know Cadian goes off on train. And we waited for those ceiling games. Excuse me, this was device res plus Nexa. Very interesting strategy. Very, very interesting. So, anyway. Alright, enough of this winning, enough of the lineup recap, folks. We need to get into this slate. We need to get into the 2-game Flashpoint Season 3 main slate here on DraftKings. This is the last Flashpoint Season 3 slate we are going to have. This is the end of Flashpoint Season 3. We have the 5th place decider match, Big versus Astralis, and then we have the Flashpoint Season 3 Grand Final, Mouse Sports versus the Ninjas in Pajamas. And before we get into Big versus Astralis, I'd like to remind everybody and ask everyone if they could to hit that like button. Leave a comment down below and hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell next to it. That way that you all know every single time one of these podcasts drop. Let's see if we can get this video up to 10 likes today. 10 likes. I'll bring it down from 15. Let's get 10 likes on this video. Let's bump that YouTube algorithm, and let's grow this thing. We are so thankful for all of our listeners out there, and follow us all on Twitter at CSGO Clutch Pod. And you can follow Dan on Twitter at Wandelch, Wandelch. One of these days, Dan, I'm going to stop spelling your Twitter. And you can follow me on Twitter at AdamWX21. Dan, let's get into this main slate. It's Big versus Astralis. Game 1 here on the slate.
That was good.
Magisk is
really
9,400 for reasons I don't quite understand.
Yeah, that's a little. Well, he's been top fragging since Device left. I mean, Bubsky.
Magisk's last 5 games: 51 DraftKings points, 65, 78, 45, 44.
Last 2 are losses, though, right?
Correct. Lost to Mouse Sports, lost to Heroic.
So if you expect, I mean, I'm probably gonna be playing. Oh shoot! The old black and red is back.
Oh.
I might have to play big. No, I'm playing big.
Oh. Tan, don't make me ram my head into a wall or off my desk.
You gotta go with the conviction play, Adam.
This
Stick
ain't
to your
poker,
gun.
this ain't roulette. What is happening to this podcast?
I know that that's true. Like objectively, we are not playing roulette, but doesn't sometimes like it feel like you can never get these right?
No. Oh, my head. Alright, no, I'm kidding. I'm not hanging my head off anything. Magisk is too high priced for me.
That is pretty high.
I mean, like, he's the second highest priced player on the slate. Device is 9,600, Magisk 9,400, Rops is 9,000, and Dupree is 8,800. He's going to be low owned. So in GPPs, absolutely take a chance on him. I'd rather Bubsky at 7,400. I'd rather Zipix at 6,200. I'd rather Dupree at 8,800. I don't know if I want Dupree at 8,800. Like, what do you? How are you approaching Big versus Astralis? And don't say black or red.
I mean, it's okay. Let's think about this
Logically,
constructive way. So, Big, I would say, they've been playing together for a while.
they have.
They're clearly the online pros. And I'm assuming Germany has. Actually, my sister lives in Germany, so I know they have good internet. Now they're matched against the Danes. Danes in general are very good at Counter-Strike.
You think?
But this group of Danes is missing their leader, Device.
That's fair.
And I'm a little worried for them.
I am too. I think if Esatag didn't have his $2.1 million contract, I think Esatag would have been signed already.
Not exactly a free agent.
I don't know how the inner workings of Counter-Strike contracts work. I'd be really interested, matter of fact. But it's something that's the team's missing something, right? Like Bubsky has shown he can frag. Like this isn't the Bubsky that was subbing in. This kid can go. Dupree looks a little lost. Magisk looks a little lost. Zipix is fine. Glaive is trying to piece it all together. This team is still broken. Elite talent. The team is broken without device.
Yeah.
They need an opper.
Yeah, you can't survive in
There's
this
no
environment.
Danish opper out there that matches device skill level anywhere close. Not
Right.
even Esatag, and he's not an opper. Don't forget, Cloud9 asked him to start opping.
Right.
Now, we don't know what Esatag's doing. If he's pugging or he's doing, FPLs, we don't know if he's still opping. So is he going to be asked to go back to that role? Like, we just don't know. Like, the first Danish opera that comes to mind is NATO Safix that's out there.
Oof.
What are you going to
Yeah.
get NATO Safix? He's a good player.
Oh, he is. I think he actually is old though, and
He's
he's been
he's
around for.
just not device.
Right. Well, no one is.
Cadian isn't device.
Exactly.
Like, I'm trying to think of other Danish operas out there, like any up and comers. I can't think of any.
Nikodos. Nikodas.
Yeah, I mean, like, eh.
Yeah, he's not bad. He's consistent. I mean, he always breaks the over or not
Again,
always, but frequently beats the over.
we're talking about Astralis. We're talking about the Danish powerhouse that is Astralis.
Yeah.
I mean, they found Major Squink Kirby left.
Yeah.
I
Good point.
mean, if Dupree, we've seen Dupree do better on the up. Like, if we just take a look at what he's done the last couple of games, he's done better on the up. 32 DK points in DreamHack against G2. Flashpoint versus OG, 50 DK points. 70 against Double Pony. 63 DK points against Mouse Sports. 57 DK points against Heroic. He's had positive kill to death ratios in his last 3 matches. This is the highest price tag we've seen from him throughout this event. It's still going up against Searson, who hasn't been himself. And Dupree is a relatively newer opper, then obviously Searson, that's his main job. Now, Dupree is fantastic for GPPs. He absolutely is. Magisk is too, except he's overpriced. We're going to want to get to Device. We're going to want to get to Rops. We're going to want to get to Frozen. We're going to maybe want to get to Xantaros on the big side. Take stands, folks. You have to take stands in your GPPs. If
It's
you're
not a
playing
great
it,
run back.
if you're playing cash, I mean Dan and I aren't cash guys, but cash you want floor, I'm not touching Magisk or Dupree. They're too expensive. They're too volatile.
Yeah, exactly. I will not be playing either one of them in single entries.
So, all right, so let's get to the big side of this game. We know the 3 we want to play. Xantaros, Searson, Tabson. Pick an order.
Is in?
Tabson is $6,000.
Is he in?
Excuse me, folks, while I kick Dan off the podcast. No, I'm kidding. But no,
No,
like
for six.
let's.
If you got Tapson coming in at 6,000, there's no need
Tabson
to.
could be chalk. Now let's get to the pinnacle odds real quick because Astralis coming as a minus 151 favorite against Big. Big's a plus 124 underdog, and the Mouse Sports comes in at a minus 126 favorite. The Ninjas in Pajamas only a plus 104 underdog. I don't mind playing some Tabson. I don't mind captaining Tabson. How chalky is Tabson going to be?
Super chalk.
I don't know if I'd go
Well,
super, but I definitely think he's going to be chalk.
I mean, it is Astralis, and
He's salary relief. It's a good run back. You could do double run back if you wanted to. I don't think it's optimal.
I did it today, and it was not optimal.
Yeah. This is why we don't have a guy like this slate. A
I know.
3-2-1 could win. I'd probably say a 3-2-1 wins this slate. The question is where are you getting your 3 from? Logically, 3 Big or 3 Astralis, and then 2 of either Mouse Sports and Nip and 1 from the other side. That game should be extremely close. You want to go real ballsy? We'll get into this game here in a second, but Mouse Sports has not lost a map throughout Flashpoint Season 3. They have not lost a map.
I think people will be afraid to play them too.
Mouse Sports are the favorite. I think
Really?
recency bias is on Nip.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So
Huh.
again, mouse boards are a minus 126 favorite according to Pinnacle.
Oh man.
You want to
I
take a
gotta play
stand and
Nib.
go 3 mouse sports? I'm okay with that.
No, I gotta play Nib, man. I know it sounds crazy, but um, or not crazy. I don't. No, that's not crazy at all. Be silly to play Nib just
Well,
because mouse sports look so good.
that's what again we're getting onto this. So let's let's get back into this. Big. The only ones I'm interested in: Zentaris, Searson, and Tabson. I don't mind some Keto. I don't even mind some Tizian. It's Astralis. Pick your battles. Pick your stands. I'm not gonna go overboard with this. I'm really not. So let's keep that in mind, folks. It's Astralis. They're not bad. They're just not as elite without device. So anything else you want to talk about from this game where you agree it's the main three and sprinkles of Keto and Tizian?
Yeah. No, I think all five are in play.
All 5 of Astralis also in play. Just
Yeah.
again, Magiskin Dupree are priced up, should be low owned in tournaments. What's their ceiling? If you think they have a major ceiling, then by all means play them. Just realize that their price tags, it may be tough to play some of the mouse sports and nip guys that we may want to play. Speaking of said thing, Glave's my least favorite of the Astralis, by the way. But he could also have a big game here against Big. And I'd probably rank him Bubsky, Zipix, Glaive, Dupree, Magisk. For me. Again, just purely based on Magisk and Dupree are too expensive.
Yeah.
And again, I don't mind playing Magisk. I'm talking myself onto Magisk. Dan, stop me.
I mean, he's been pretty good lately, and especially in wins. So if you think they're gonna win, um, then I would go for it.
Yep.
But I don't. I really don't think that they're gonna win.
Astralis?
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. A big need the points more than Astralis does.
Hmm.
Again, come Monday, those world we're gonna see a shake up in who the powerhouses are. Kinda. Like I think the world rankings are gonna change. But again, we will see what HLTV comes out with on Monday. Last game on the slate is Mouse Sports versus Nip. Man, now I really want to play Magisk. I want to play Magisk as like
Don't do it.
one.
I
Like
think
this
now you.
is. All right. We had to move on. I kind of want to play Magisk one now. Dan, stop me! I want to play Magisk
Um.
one now. Um. I,
GPP. Just keep it in the GPP.
yeah. All right. Magisk my GPP play.
Yep.
All right. Here we go. Mouse Sports versus Nip. Device is $9,600. Rops at 9,000. Rez is 8,400. Frozen 8,000. Hamp is 7,000. Dan, what are we doing
Everybody.
with this game other than watching
Everybody.
it and it's going to be an amazing game?
I play whoever Play them all except for ZTR. He's not too good. I mean, he's got a pretty good aim, but he's just like I think he's just too new, too fresh.
He's still
Um,
getting used to Tier 1 Counter-Strike.
in that, yeah, they're kind of a four-man team, to be honest with you.
Yep.
That was my impression. And I watched, like I told you before on the earlier podcast. I don't think I missed a round that entire match. Actually, I know I didn't.
Well, there you
I
go.
know I didn't.
All right, folks. So we have. I want to play Mouse Sports. I want a Captain Frozen. Dan, we've said this over and over with Mouse Sports, and I said this on the solo pod. I think it was a solo pod. Frozen is the guy you want if you want a boom ceiling.
Yeah,
Rops is a great player. He's always going to be, well, he should always put up great numbers. He has ceiling games, but he should always put up great numbers.
consistent.
Frozen is the boom or bust guy because he
I
either
would agree.
disappears or he shows up. Right?
He's been
Like
showing up lately.
we should see, at the very least, we're going to see Nip pick Overpass. Maybe we get Nuke.
Yeah, Mouse Force like Nuke.
I don't think we get Dust 2.
Maybe.
Well, let's take a look as we have time. Let's take a look here on the Mouse Sports Snip and see if we can pick out maps.
Because I don't think they banned Dust
Mouse
2.
Sports picks Mirage and Nuke the most over the they've picked Mirage, Nuke, and Vertigo the most over the last 3 months. I do not think we are going to get. We're going to see um, Nip ban Vertigo.
Yeah.
And because it's a best of 3, see, Mouse Sports have an amazing map pool. They really have such an amazing map pool. And both Mouse Sports and Nip have an 83% win rate on Overpass. It's a push. I think we see Mouse Sports pick Nuke and punish Nip on it. I think we see Nip pick Overpass. I think we see a ban of Train and Dust 2 with Mirage as a decider. Or we could see Dust 2 as a decider. I think we see either of the Dusty maps as a decider. Right? Like, we'll
Um.
say... I could see
Yeah.
Inferno, too.
Yeah, probably the Inferno. Actually,
I could
everyone just.
I could see Inferno as a decider. Mouse Sports maybe banning Mirage or banning a Dust 2 or banning a Train. It'll be interesting. Be interesting to say the least. But Dan, so how are you approaching this game? Are you playing the ninjas? Or are you playing
Um.
Mouse Sports?
I'm probably gonna play the Ninjas,
Yeah?
and just because they're the underdog, and we all know that is a pretty viable strategy when you think that the underdog has a really good chance,
I think
especially
they
in
do have a
single.
good chance. The thing is, I think Mouse Sports is starting to evolve in the Juggernaut offense that we think they are. Or we think they had the potential to be. I'm
Yeah.
very interested in playing Dexter on this slate. I said it.
Shit.
I'm very interested in playing Dexter on the slate.
Dude, he looks
Dexter.
so good.
Dexter over the last 5 games. Here are his. Let's go over his flashpoint games. 82 DK points, 66, 56, 65. He has had positive kill to death ratios in every single flashpoint game except for the one versus Astralis, where you got 56 DK points. It was 40, 15, and 45 in a 2-0 win. Still had 56 DK points at 4,600. He gets me 56 DK points at 4,600 and I can shove it an extra stud? Yeah, I'll absolutely take that. Dexter, someone very much interests me on the slate.
And ice in his veins too. I don't know if you watched their last match, but there was one round where he was just sitting in the smoke for a while, waiting for it to dissipate. And I don't know. I just
That's
looked.
patience.
Yeah,
And
I
it's a
just I
great count. Like, if the situation calls for it in Counter Strike, it's a great strategy. Just hide in the smoke or hide a little tiny corner behind the smoke. Like, I remember seeing a play the other day. I think it was in a game I was in. I think we were playing Vertigo. And on A site, there was a smoke by scaffolding. And the player just is in a little tiny corner by scaffolding with the smoke covering about 2/3 of his, 3/4 of his screen. And they're just not clearing him. Or he goes back into the smoke and just it can be a great play. Risky, but it's a great strategy if you can figure out you're in a good spot to hide on the smoke, or you can get a great off angle. It's a great strategy. But can I interest you in some Dexter at 4,600?
yeah, definitely. 4,600 is wow.
I think Dexter makes for a very
God.
interesting run back if you want to shove in device and res. I think he makes for a very interesting run back.
Huh. Kind of like carbon copy of yesterday.
Kinda. And even cheaper.
Instead of
So,
Nexa.
I'm more interested in playing mouse sports than Nip, but I'm probably going to end up on Big over Astralis to get some underdog leverage. I can easily see any of the four teams on this slate winning. However, I really like mouse sports to win. Now, if mouse sports 2-0 this grand final, I think we can safely say this mouse sports squad has arrived, Dexter's job is safe, and the elite talent of the roster is finally shown. Now, a lot of things are going to change once we take Train out of the map pool. A lot of things are going to change. When we get to IEM Summer on our next podcast, which is our next event, I believe IEM Summer is our next event. I don't think there's anything else in between. It starts in a couple of days. Yep, IEM Summer 2021. Okay. No mouse sports. They didn't qualify.
It's unfortunate.
It is. But we will see. This is. I'm gonna start on a group stage. We already have the groups already out there. It's gonna be very interesting. However, this mouse sports team very much interests me for the future because this is an elite squad that we think can regain back to form that we saw glimpses of last year. Dexter Incorporated, Acorn now opping. Um,
Oof.
you know, BMass. It's when BMass is yours, like I don't even want to call him a support player, but kind of sort of just that like fifth player role where he doesn't need a top frag. This team is loaded with talent. They're almost like a mini heroic. They're loaded with talent. And now we see Dexter starting to frag, which, Dan, you watched a lot of the Renegades matches. Or at least caught glimpses of them, and you saw how much of a high fragger that Dexter was back when he was with Renegades, correct?
I sure did, and he is.
He's starting to
Um,
show that now that he's a little bit more comfortable on mouse sports. If they can
yeah,
continue to
I'll
get that
agree.
out of him, this team is scary good. Like top
Yeah,
5 in the world good.
yeah, it kind of fits their whole. I feel like it fits their entire strategy of just kind of being like, I don't know, just really, really high skill level guys.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily functioning on their own, but it almost seems like that sometimes. Is they're a little bit independent, but I think they just have a lot of brains on that team altogether.
I agree. Alrighty, so let's get into it then. Yes or no, are you playing device on the slate as a one-off or part of a stack?
Oh, 100% playing device.
Are we kind of making him the Zyrule rule of the slate?
Um,
That he
yeah,
seems like a core play.
yeah, because I mean, if I like your little strategy of not playing, opposing uppers, and with that, it's a core is just
I have
is not.
no interest in a core on the slate.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I have very little interest in a core on the slate.
So the other take,
I have more interest in playing B Mass than I do a core on the slate.
yeah, I heard the announcer say a couple of times that it was rumored that he does not do well against top tier teams.
A core?
That he kind of gets yeah, that maybe he gets nervous or just they weren't really sure. They just thought that he had a hard time against higher tier teams.
I mean, like, look, a core Danish Hopper better than NATO Sapphics. No offense to NATO, I'm a fan of. Like, I'm a fan of watching NATO Sapphics play. A core is a great Danish Hopper. Coming from Mad Lions, who wasn't exactly, they were like a fringe tier 1 team when he was on it, if you want to call them that. He's still getting used to now playing at this talent level consistently. Maybe he's a more passive opera like Jame and Shiro. Or at least like Jame. Like, A-Core is coming into his own too. He doesn't need to top frag, but playing against tougher opponents is only going to make you better, but it is going to take time.
Right.
So, on the nip side of things, just really quickly here before we get into our next segment. I think for me it's Device 1, Hampus 2, Res 3, Plopsky 4, ZTR 5.
I would go Res too,
That's fine too.
if you
I'm
can fit
just
it.
thinking of I think Hampus outscores Res on this slate. Just my own gut feeling. Either way, you want to put Res 2, Hampus 2, vice versa, room for 3. I don't mind it, but I think that's the right combo. That's the right 3.
Yeah, Hampus has looked really good, so I
He
don't want to
really
take away from
has.
that.
Um, Plopsky, I don't know what to make of him.
Oh, poor Popsky.
Kid's got super talent. Again, everyone's finding their roles since Device has joined the team. All right, sir. You ready? Core,
Yep.
value, GPP, favorite team stack segment. Who you got in the slate?
Core Device. Value Dexter. GPP Dupree.
Okay. Core play for me on this slate is Device. Value, Dexter. I'll give you all a different value just in case. Glaive.
Huh.
And obviously, Tabson at 6,000 is value. And so isn't BMS. So there are a couple value plays for you all. I'll give you all some variety. I'm sticking with Magisk for GPP, dude. He should be low owned in this range. And sticking with Magisk as my large field GPP play. Do you have a favorite team stack?
Not really, but big.
I don't either. If I had to pick one, it's Mouse Sports. But you can go any of the 4 teams, and I think you'd be okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, let's get into it here on Prize Picks. Let's head over to the CSGO tab here. We only have a couple up so far for this slate. We still don't have the flashpoints left outlet, so again, keep checking back in here to PrizePicks.com because they're always adding new content. And we've seen Flashpoint content definitely come out. We've seen CS Summit content come out. Definitely keep checking back. So, Dan, let's give the folks 2 of these 8. So, 2 for you, 2 for me. Who you got?
I can't see very well, but let's go.
We got
Kinder
Elan.
on.
We got Elan versus the Hyenas at 40.5. We got Kirby versus Entropic 35.5.
Yep. Kinder under and
Okay.
um Dem QQ under.
Okay. Interesting. I'm gonna go Elan over. And I'm gonna go. I mean, this is interesting. You have a grand final of 5. Sprout versus LDLC. Favin at 63.5 for 3 maps. I'll take the under on Favin. So over on Elan at 40.5. I'll take the under on Favin at 63.5. That is an extremely high ask. So this more based on, can he frag over 20 a game? Can
Yeah.
Favin? Sure. But, LDLC didn't just get here for no reason. So, and you're under on your Kindar and DemQQ?
Yeah.
I like the under on your Kindar call. Could be a
Nice.
jam day over there. And folks, that is going
Yeah.
to do it. That is going to do it here for the CSGO Clutch podcast. This is the final Flashpoint Season 3 day. Yeah, final day for Flashpoint Season 3. So the next time you'll hear from Dan and I will be for IEM Summer 2021. Dan, any last things you want to say?
I'm good. Have a good night.
You too. And Dan, we'll see you back here for the IEM Summer 2021 first podcast of I don't know how many, but we will see however long the event goes. And that's going to be a fun event. And just to give you all a quick preview, if you're still listening, here are our teams for IEM Summer 2021. Gambit, Heroic, G2, Astralis, Virtus Pro, Team Vitality, Complexity, Team Spirit. Let's see here. Nip, Fun Plus Phoenix, Extra Salt. Who else we got? We got OG, Fnatic, Evil Geniuses, Imperial,
Oh,
with
imp-
Fair. First time we're going to see Fur back on a DFS slate in quite some time.
what?
Yep,
How the hell did they make?
he's standing in for Imperial, and Peacemaker joining the Imperial squad, I believe, as a coach or assistant coach. And we have
Wait,
one
is that the team
team.
with
We have
Safi or?
no,
Okay, never mind. Another
Fastlin.
Brazilian guy.
So
Oh, okay.
and then we have one spot still to be determined that it's going to go to the winner of the ENC Global Playoffs. Good looking field, Dan.
Yeah.
I'm very much
Yep.
interested in seeing who's going to do what. Dan and I will get into IEM Summer 2021 on the next podcast. For Dan, I'm Adam. Good luck on this slate, folks. Latest, peoples.